Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the closing bell here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joe Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. Let's wrap up today's action. Well, the stock market, it began weak and it ended weak. The lower move on all the large cap indices basically has got pretty much so the S&Ps and the Russell 2000 down today. That hadn't changed much since we had discussed that at the strategy now when we were talking about the midday. Currently, we have the Dow down 61, about 0.3% at 19,083. Taking a look at the S&P futures, they finished the day at 2,275, down 10.5 points, around 0.5%. And taking a look at the Nasdaq, they were off by 675, down about 0.1% at 4860.75. Now, what was also notable is that we have finally seen, in the first time in 15 trading sessions, the Russell 2000, that domestically centric small cap index. It finished down about 1.3%, snapping that win streak that it's had since even pre-election. Now, also what's notable is the fact that trading volume was down. Typically, we see about 1 billion shares trade on average. Today, only 847 million shares traded on the New York Stock Exchange. I also want to put people's fears a little bit, quell them a little bit, especially after this post-Thanksgiving move. The Russell 2000 year-to-date is up 17%. The Dow Jones is up almost 10% at 9.6%. The S&Ps are up 7.7%, and the Nasdaq is up 7.2% year-to-date. And we've seen since the election that markets have hit all-time highs. Logically, you would just look at this, especially with the light volume, is there's trimming of some profits and reassessment of the thesis going forward as far as what you're going to be investing in going into the end of this month, right? So we could have some potential window dressing as well as the end of this year. You're going to start to see investment managers making some decisions to make those balance sheets look very positive. Now, there also has been quite a bit of volatility that's been coming out of the oil pit. Now, a lot of people have looked at the oil prices and saying, well, if it's not going higher, that has to be negative. I don't necessarily agree with that. But what I do want to note right now as far as oil is concerned is the volatility is going to continue until we start to get clarity on what's going to happen with the most recent OPEC meeting. We've talked about extensively today about how earlier or later last week the Saudis came out, said that they are not going to be participating. Iraq and Iran and Malaysia, they've been all over the map as far as whether or not they're going to participate in any type of either supply caps or cuts. At this juncture right now, expect volatility going forward. And with crude oil still trading right around that $47 level, it went out up about 2.5% today at $47.11. Let's just keep our eyes on this. There are going to be developments. The meeting is supposed to end and there should be some conclusion, we are told, by November 30th, or in other words, Wednesday. There's also some other developments that you're going to need to stay on top of that are going to add some volatility in Europe, and that will flow into the United States. That's the developments that are going on in Italy. We talked about this in the overnight action report. That's at 8:30 Eastern time every morning, so please start joining us here at MarketStream.live for that overnight report. Bottom line is they have a referendum on the docket for December 4th, which is Saturday, that basically they want to reduce the powers of the Senate. Now, the Prime Minister, Renzi, already had stated that if the referendum should fail and they don't reduce the powers of the Senate, well, he's going to resign. The banking sector there in Italy, as well as around Europe, has been on edge, basically waiting for this referendum. The banking sector in Italy specifically has had some stress. So we're going to continue to monitor that in the overnight action report. That has not only added stress in the MIB, which is the index that tracks the Italian stocks in Italy, but it's also stressing out the currency markets as well as the bond markets in Europe. Other developments that we're watching, since we are in the heightened holiday shopping season, is we're watching the consumer discretionary space as well as the retail space. They were both down today. The consumer discretionary was down about 0.8%. You can look at XLY, that's an ETF. And retail names were also down about 1.2%. You can see that the Black Friday, while there was some speculation going into the sales of the in-stores, that there could be some pressure or lower foot traffic, we saw over the weekend, though, that reports were saying that foot traffic was pretty brisk. Kohl's, a notable discount retailer, was trading down about 76 cents. Macy's was down about 101 at 43.13, and Nordstrom's, as we reported earlier, was down about $1.79. So you're seeing declines in these retailers, the bricks and mortars, the traditionals, anywhere between 1.4% and 3.1%. So we're going to watch any of this sales data. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to be focusing on the results of what happened on this Cyber Monday, which is like the online version of Black Friday. Taking a look finally at treasuries, again, we saw that treasury prices increased. That means that the yields were decreasing. We see that on the 2-year yield finished down about 2 basis points to about 1.1%. And you're also seeing that the benchmark 10-year yield fell about 5 basis points to 2.31%. So you're seeing that the yields are starting to pull back, which puts stress on the financials, specifically the banks. That's something that you're going to start hearing about a little bit more, especially since we're going to be getting into what is a locked rate hike, basically with the Fed funds futures from the tool from the CME pricing in 100% probability that rates are going to raise at least 0.25%. The only notable economic data that's going to be out tomorrow morning that I'm going to keep an eye on is going to be consumer confidence. That's going to be around 10 a.m. Eastern time, so keep an eye on that. Till then, have a wonderful evening. Join us for tomorrow for the overnight action here at MarketStream.live, and then we will do What's Hot on the Open, where we'll cover all the hot activity going on in the markets. That's at 9:30 Eastern time. Till then, watch the archives, and also feel free to give us any type of feedback. You can give feedback at info@MarketStream.live, or you can email me directly, jcusick@moneyblock.com. Till then, have a wonderful evening, folks. Take care.